What's going on, guys? This is your boy Hazza, and I am doing a review of One Piece manga chapter 957. Now, before I get into it, this is obviously the most hype chapter of the series. Probably the best, I guess. But it's definitely top 5. So, without further ado, let's get straight into my review. So, I've got a fat list I made, and let me go through the points. So we start off with Fujitora speaking to Akainu, and clearly you can see Akainu is not satisfied with the abolition of the warlord system. Now this could be many reasons. I don't know the reason particularly why, but one reason could be is that maybe they don't actually, the SSG maybe it just doesn't replace the warlords as good as they thought. You know, they must be doing testing and they just may not be doing as good as they thought. Because how are you going to replace the world's strongest swordsman? Like, that's really tough, you know. The next thing we see is Fujitora is all bandaged up with the fight against the revolutionaries. So this kind of gauges how strong the revolutionaries may be, even though I think they're lame. Like, all the commanders, except from Sabo and Dragon, everyone else is literally like lame and terrible. Like, I don't even see them as 3rd commander level. They're very trash in my eyes. But yeah, Fujitora is all bandaged up, so it's a bit crazy. Another point is Akainu definitely knows about sword, because if you think about it, the only person in Wano who knows about the alliance is X-Drake, and X-Drake is part of sword. So how can Akainu know about the alliance between Big Mom and Kaido? And the only thing I see here is that X-Drake told him, which means that Akainu must be part of sword. In fact, I think sword isn't something. Sword is known through all of the Marines. It's just the world government doesn't know about sword. So I don't think like Kuzan is the leader and like it's some secret thing. I think everyone in the Marines probably knows about sword. Next thing we see is the Rocks Pirates. So we see Kaido, Big Mom and Whitebeard and Shiki on the same crew. That's really crazy. And there's one random person standing in between. I don't know who that is. Actually, no one knows who that is, but I guess it might be the captain, because if you see later on, they kind of have similar hairstyles, so maybe it's the captain, but it could be the Silver Axe or Captain John or that Ocho, I don't remember his name, but that guy. It could be him, so it could be any of those guys. Then the chapter moves on to God Valley. We see that's where the Rocks Pirates are demolished, and before we get into that, I just want to kind of expand on that name, God Valley. It's quite crazy because the celestial dragons call themselves gods, so I'm just thinking maybe celestial dragons were living there. That's just my theory, I'm not 100% sure, so maybe. And I mean, obviously they were living there. I mean, something else that also backs this up is they were fighting to protect the celestial dragons. So maybe there are some celestial dragons that live down on Earth. Maybe they do. So yeah, so that's my theory for that. And then we see that the Rocks Pirates formed on Pirates Island Beehive, and that's where Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach, is staying. So we have one kind of connection there. Another connection is that the leader of Rocks, he is also a D. Blackbeard's also a D. And Rocks' name, Shebek, Blackbeard's ship is also called Shebek. So there's like 3 things in common here, and they both have like evil intentions, I guess. So I guess there's some sort of relationship between them two. There has to be. I just don't see a situation where there isn't. Next thing we see is the alliance with Goldie, Roger and Garp. So both of these dons came to take down the Rocks Pirates. So from what I see, I think it's obviously Garp's fleet and Roger's crew. I don't think it was just Garp and Roger on its own. That's a bit questionable how they did that. if it was just them two. So I definitely think it was with other people's help as well. Another question arises is, why did Roger fight to save the Celestial Dragons? And I guess this comes back to my theory about the Celestial Dragons living on God Valley, which is not in Marajoa. These might be the good Celestial Dragons. You know how we have I don't remember that guy's name that saved Shirahoshi in the Reverie. I can't recall his name, but he's a good Celestial Dragon. So maybe that's where like some good Celestial Dragons lived, and that's where they didn't want slaves, they didn't want to do these things. So maybe Roger was like, yeah, these guys are good, so let me save them. You know, that could be very true. The island, God Valley, it's erased from existence. So I have a theory, maybe the road poneglyph, the final one, could be on the island. Maybe it's the last island on Grand Line. I don't know, no idea, but can't wait to find out what that is. Also, we have that the Rocks Pirates were like researching into taboo subjects. So clearly they were trying to find out about the Void Century, all this and what happened and blah blah blah. So I guess this is the reason why the rocks are just like they're not in history anymore, they're gone, which is what the Marines always do. Not the Marines, the world government. Yeah, then from here, this is the most high bit of the chapter. We get bounties of all the Yonko, and not just the Yonko, we get the bounties of Whitebeard and the Pirate King Goldie Roger. So Blackbeard we get 2,247,600,000, and obviously we already knew that. I'm just thinking it's kind of low compared to the other Yonkos, but then again, Whitebeard just became a Yonko. Whitebeard, Blackbeard just became a Yonko, so kind of does make sense. Then we get Shanks. Shanks was only a Yonko for 6 years. He became a Yonko 6 years ago, sorry. And that basically tells us that when he gave the straw hat to Luffy, he wasn't a Yonko back then. And as we know, that Shanks and Mihawk had daily duels, and once Shanks lost his arm, Mihawk refused to have a fight with him. So therefore, Shanks and Mihawk were having duels before Shanks was a Yonko. So basically, what I'm trying to say is Shanks has got a lot more stronger. Otherwise, he wouldn't become a Yonko, right? So that kind of like makes me think: is Mihawk as strong as what everyone thinks he is? Because of course he is the world's strongest swordsman, no doubt about it. But is he Yonko level? That's the question. Because he was fighting someone who was not Yonko level at that time. Plus Shanks apparently got stronger with only one arm, which is crazy. And Shanks does have the lowest of the Yonko bounties, minusing Luffy and Blackbeard. But then again, bounty doesn't mean strength. It's just a number that's put in your head because of activities that you're doing. Like let's say you're trying to find out about the Void Century, your bounty will shoot up. Let's say you're killing people every day or whatever, bounty will shoot up, right? But Shanks doesn't look like he does that. He just chills on his island, and he just doesn't do anything, you know. That's literally all he does. He just chills on his island. So clearly, this bounty doesn't mean that Shanks is the weakest. So next we move on to Big Mom. Her bounty is 4,388,000,000, which is crazy. Big Mom is actually dense, much denser than I thought. If you think about it, Katakuri, his bounty was like 1 billion something. So 4 Katakuris make 1 Big Mom. That is the difference between Yonko and First Commander. Then we have Kaido. Kaido was introduced as an apprentice on Rox's ship, and he's the only person who was this apprentice. So I'm wondering what that means. Does that mean he's like the weakest or what? And like this kind of ties back to when Big Mom says that you owe me a favor. Maybe Big Mom did something and made him much stronger than he is now. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know why I'm burping. But yeah. But Kaido's bounty is 4,611,100,000, which is the highest of the Yonko. Then we get Whitebeard's bounty, 5,046,000,000, which is crazy. Like, that's in the 5 bills now. That's ridiculous. It's like 400 million more than Kaido's. Then we get the Gold D. Rogers bounty, the Pirate King himself, 5,564,800,000. Now, like, I don't know why like Oda plays with these numbers crazy. Like, why does he put these random numbers? Like, why can't it be 5.5 billion? I don't know why it does 5,564,100,800, whatever. That's a bit, I don't know, maybe it just has a meaning that we don't know about yet. So yeah, and then they go on to mention that no pirate has suppressed these bounties. Now, I want you to understand, no pirate has exceeded these bounties. That means that Rox, his bounty was not higher than Roger's. Okay? Maybe when they fought, maybe it was, but when Roger became Pirate King, his bounty was definitely the highest. But remember, Dragon is the most wanted man, and he's not a pirate, he's a revolutionary. That means his bounty could technically be higher than Roger's himself. So that's something you need to look out for. Next page. We then move on to Akainu, who keeps on insisting that we're not going to Wano, and I don't know what's up with him and Wano, but clearly there's some sort of history in Wano. Maybe he's from Wano, I don't know, but there's just clearly something. And then like the next panel hints at like even more like coincidences. Like Sengoku says, doesn't it seem weird like all these big shots have something to do with Wano? And then we see that like Sengoku's like, yeah, isn't it a huge coincidence? So there's something going on, and Oda's trying to make it seem like it's obvious, but it's not really, kind of, I guess. We also talk about Odin, and that they are talking about Odin like he's still alive. So clearly these guys don't know Odin's dead, or maybe Oda is trying to make us believe that he's dead, but maybe Odin's alive. I don't know what's happening with that. But yeah, these guys, I think they still think Odin's alive. And then they talk about how he was a commander on Whitebeard's ship and then went on Whitebeard's final voyage. So yeah, that covers all the points, I think. Quick short review, my first ever review. So if you guys enjoyed that, then leave a like, subscribe and comment. They will definitely get better. Obviously it's my first one, so when I was looking off paper, I'm gonna try to write more things down and learn and stuff. But obviously if you like the video, subscribe and like, and definitely share the video. And yeah, it's your boy Hazza. I'll see you next chapter.